Let's go, Wolves! Good morning, Vietnam and fantasy football lovers, and welcome back to 33. The Hawk. This week I am joined by only one of my co-hosts, Mr. Galladay Season. How are you doing?
I'm kind of a little sad right now. Are you sad?
My team was murdered this week. Tyler's team...
What was it murdered? I think it was like murdered and then like brought back to life, then murdered again.
BPI's giving them a point.
3-point
chance to get to the playoffs.
Basically,
Cowboys defense
and people
had a .0001 to score a touchdown on that play, and they did.
Yeah, Ty, if you guys are wondering, Ty's 10 is drinking himself into oblivion right now, and that's why he's not on the show.
Our prayers are out to him and his family after that loss.
Woo! I won last week, though, baby. Let's go.
That got the win was Galladay Season. A pretty impressive win as well. The recycling bin showed some life towards the end, but without a full roster, I think there wasn't much he could do.
Not really anything different. I mean, big shout outs to him, dude. Like, I mean, not starting Crowder, kind of like it wouldn't have mattered in the end, but like, man, he picked up some dudes out the scrap heap and they played really, really well for him. So I think a big shout out to him for putting up a fight. But
he still got my vote for coach of the year.
Seriously, my vote would be to him, but I'm still throwing it with Trax. My dude Trax keeps winning, despite being probably the worst team on paper in the league. But hey, good on him.
His halftime speeches must be just fire.
Well, I've been noticing kind of a weird trend with him. He's always trailing at the halfway point of the noon games,
and everyone's
he outscores his opponents by an average of 60 points after halftime of the noon games.
Right,
that's nuts.
I wonder if that could have anything to do with Eckler playing at 325 every single week, basically.
Yeah, because you're right. Kind of screwed myself over on that one. They did play at 3 o'clock last week too.
But other than that, what other reactions do you have? We're already through week 9. That's crazy.
Yeah, obviously, we're talking about Ty's 10 losing. I think him losing to Eric really throws a monkey wrench into everything. But I think if Ty would have won, it would have been very, very, very close throughout the league. I think him losing and having Eric be 5-4 be in that last playoff spot, I think is a really big deal. I think that it's going to really help separate himself from the rest of the pack because he does have a few points for. So
yeah, I was going to say that win actually really helped the Rick Rangers. The only thing I'm looking at when it's coming down to those wild card spots is that division with the Rick Rangers, Johnny, and then Sniffers Rose making a run here too. They all have to play each other. So
I think it's I don't know. It'd be easy just to say one of them won't. One that's probably not going to make it.
Yeah, I think for sure when you're looking and Trax is in that division too, and he's 5-4.
Yeah, probably two. I'd say for sure half of them aren't making it. But I think we have to wait till those last 3 games to see, because I think they all could win again this week and kind of all be in the playoffs next week.
Right, big time.
Actually, not even possible. Only 3 teams can make it. All 4 can make it. Right? No one division winner than 3. Well,
all of them could potentially make it. I don't think they will though. But the other thing I wanted to point out with this week then as well, with the wild card race, Trax plays Minshew, which we'll get into the matchups later, but they're both right in there. But then Sniffers Row does have a weaker opponent in the touchdowns.
I don't know. As we'll get into my matchup picks later, I'm liking touchdowns this week, and it's my upset of the week. Kind of a spoiler alert for later, but I think on paper you're like, whoa, a lot of guys in bye, but I don't know. I got a feeling.
Miracles happen.
Sometimes. No, ask Ranger Rick, yo.
That is true. But Ranger Rick, kudos to that team because he did have one of the most devastating losses. And there's been some crazy weeks myself with some magnificent comebacks. But when he lost by a 0.5, that is insane.
What week was that again? Was that
3 weeks back?
Maybe? It was Keenan Allen
and Connor
were playing on Sunday night. Yeah, and they basically just didn't want them to do anything. It was like Connor got hurt. Connor got hurt, and Allen didn't do anything.
He didn't even get a catch. He needed a catch. He could have had a catch.
Speaking of Keenan Allen, I want to know your thoughts, dude. He kind of sucks. A dude who is good at football, I'll put that on the record, good at football, Keenan Allen, but kind of not performing well at all since week 3.
Do you think it has anything to do? Like Hunter Henry has been very good when he's been back.
I'm more going to say I think it's a combination of, and it seemed like the offense was a little bit better this previous week. I think Melvin Gordon really hurt that offense a bunch. I think Keenan Allen's kind of been like it kind of sucks when you have I think Mike Williams, although he hasn't performed really well, is a very good receiver, like real life, and Hunter Henry, like you said, when you have those two guys, and a lot of attention goes to Allen, it's like, well, I'm just going to throw it to these other guys who are just as good, kind of thing. Maybe not quite as good as Keenan Allen, but I'm just saying very good players in the NFL.
So they just have so many mouths to feed, basically.
And I think Rivers has regressed. Other than last week, he played really well, but he's regressed really, really bad.
Yeah, and Austin Eckler, they throw to their running backs a ton. I don't know if it's something where maybe his first look now isn't even Keenan Allen.
But before it would just be first read Keenan Allen on whatever route he's running. It just seemed like every single week.
Keenan Allen, if not, I'll just dump it off to one of my running backs. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Those are kind of our quick reactions to Week 9. Exciting time here. It's playoff time.
It's almost the holiday season, or the Galladay season. Wink,
exactly.
wink.
Now, we haven't done the math, but realistically, when you're looking at it, ties 10 to 2-7, and touchdowns at 2-7. I'm giving them a very slim shot of making the
basically, they need to win out and get some help, basically, in that one.
And then Daiquiris is close as well. He's at 3-6. If gets a loss, really not a lot of hope there. Then other than that, everyone is 4-5.
And 4, 5, and 4 is in the playoffs. So no one's out except for those two teams, I'd say.
Right. So any big injuries that stood out to you after last week, or anyone coming back from injuries? That
it seems like David Johnson's back this week. Practiced fully today. Chase Edmonds won't be back. It looks like for at least a little bit while longer. Kenyon Drake, we didn't talk about him. He went off kind of out of nowhere on that Thursday night game. So I think he's kind of more of a. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it splits, because obviously you can't. I think that Kenyon Drake kind of earned some playing time with that game, so we'll have to see how that splits up. Other than that, Mahomes practiced fully today as well, but he's still kind of a little questionable still, obviously with that injury. AJ Green was trending in the right direction and was looking to be playing this week, but now apparently is re-aggravated something in practice and will be probably out this week. Other than that, Thielen re-aggravated his injury in the game on Sunday. I'm thinking probably going to be out this week because we have a bye week next week. I mean the Vikings. Other than that, not a heck of a lot. I think the injuries are starting to kind of not be as frequent as they have been in previous weeks. I don't really have much besides that. James Conner's one. Mike Tomlin says he's optimistic that he will play this week, which doesn't mean anything.
Always kind of quick on the trigger.
Yeah, he seems like a dude who's always high on cocaine all the time, so we don't know. Maybe he's actually high on cocaine.
He's doing something there in Pittsburgh. Also, I want to mention Kareem Hunt. He's off the suspension. He's not injured.
He's in the starting lineup this week for Daiquiris.
There's a squad that has him starting. I did draft him. I kind of I bought into the upside on him. Just didn't have enough rosters. I had to keep Rex Burkhead on the squad. But he is starting. I'm very curious to see what that looks like in that backfield in Cleveland. Cleveland has been very bad this year, but Nick Chubb has been one bright spot. So, I could see Cleveland coming out, and then they're like, yeah, Kareem Hunt, we're just going to give him the ball.
I could see them legitimately going New Orleans a couple years ago, and they just run their offense through both those running backs, because obviously Baker Mayfield's been horrible, which has kind of affected Odell and Jarvis Landry significantly, especially Odell. Odell's been I would say one of, if not the biggest bust so far this year.
Other than Mitchell Trubisky.
Other than Trubisky, yes, correct. I completely forgot about Mitchell Trubisky. He's been a huge bust, but I think that we could see them just give 20 carries to Chubb, 15 to Kareem every game, and just run it through them. So, but it'll be interesting to see for sure. I think it's very bold for one team to start him this week, but hey.
An aggressive move.
Aggressive. I love aggressive moves.
And then trades in our league. One trade, our league seems very... Some trades go through and they get very worked up, and then some don't. Some other ones go through and I'm like, what? And everyone's like, yeah, great trade. So I'm the first. Were there one or two trades since we last?
So here's my question: was Ingram for Gurley? Was that after our pod?
We had not talked about
that. Was after we'll go with that one to start. That was one where it was everyone was wow, what a steal for Rupp. He turned Watkins into Gurley this year. Does anyone understand that Gurley is horrible? Other than obviously his name value, he's been terrible. Take away his touchdowns. Obviously That's his value. He's touchdown dependent, but the dude's been trending the wrong way the entire year, it seems like. Ingram is a very solid running back. I think he gets the same amount of carries, basically. I mean, like, Gurley's been like 16 carries a game. That's kind of what Ingram gets. He's not like he's a starter, but he doesn't play like, 100% of the snaps like McCaffrey does. He's about like 60 to 65. And he looked really good against New England. Like, I just don't understand like why everyone hated that trade. I don't think like anyone really won that trade. I think Ty did, just because obviously going into Monday night, he was probably going to win until the last play of the game, obviously. Right. So like he needed to make that trade to get off early on the bye week. But I think that's a very even trade, like as even as it gets.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe the one thing I brought up was maybe people were overreacting because Gurley was drafted for like $50 or $60, and Ingram wasn't drafted very high. But I was mentioning it to you. I don't think right at the beginning of the year when you're trading guys, I kind of look at that like, no, I'm not going to trade you a guy I drafted for $50 for a guy you picked up off waivers. But at this point in the year,
we're going to week 10. Like we're about on the cusp of the playoffs.
8 weeks of stats under our belt. You have a pretty good idea of what guys are doing. It's probably not going to change. So I didn't really have an issue with that one. I thought it was a good deal.
I thought it was a great deal for both sides, honestly. And like I said, like I think honestly I prefer Ingram over Gurley at this point of the year, which is crazy to think about. Like I said at the beginning of the year.
Well, and now I'm looking at Johnny's backfield, and it's like he's got a lot of big names at running back, but okay, Barkley's kind of the exception, who hasn't been by any means fantastic this year. He had a couple big weeks.
Yeah, he hasn't been like up to like his like he was the number one overall pick in fantasy this year, so he hasn't been quite up to that standard. Like I said, Melvin
and Gurley.
Melvin seemed to kind of get back on track, but did he get back on track? And again, I mean, here's my thought on Gordon. Perfect game script. They led the entire game against your vaunted Green Bay Packers. Kind of got exposed this last week.
Shredded in the run game for the most.
He had 20 plus carries for 80 rushing yards. Right. He did find the end zone twice. I think it's kind of like another thing where it's like that's what his value is, his touchdowns. But it was a perfect game script. Like that's not going to happen every single game for Gordon. I think he kind of needs a game like that where they're leading the whole time and not trailing, because Eckler I think takes away so much value from him. So I think that I wouldn't expect that from him. And then Gurley, obviously. It
was kind of a fluke game in a way where, okay, the Packers' defense is on the field the entire game. And Melvin Gordon was still getting bottled up. It was like, he had a couple bigger runs.
That's what I'm saying, it was 20 plus carries for 80 yards. That's 4 yards per carry. It's not that great.
And you take away maybe one of his 15-yard runs, that is a brutal stat line. But, so really when I'm looking at Johnny's backfield, it's, big names. Even like now it was like AJ Green. Yeah, he's a big name if he does come back, but it's like so many question marks around them. But I didn't think too much about the trade, though. Perfect segue over. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was like this morning or whatever when it happened, last night. So it was Jameis. Johnny seems to be involved in a lot of trades. He sent over Jameis Winston and Juju Smith-Schuster to Daiquiris for T.Y. Hilton and Bob Anderson. Bob Anderson. Okay, first of all, Rob Anderson is probably better than Juju.
Okay. That's a little bit overboard. That's overboard, but I'm
close too.
I'm all on board with that take. Here's my thought. Okay. My dude's going to trade away. Like, I get trading away T.Y.
Is Mahomes not coming back? Do we need Jameis this week?
I don't know. I get trading away T.Y. because, like, obviously it's like, Daggers is in win now mode, and T.Y.'s out probably 3 more weeks after this week. But, like, okay, we're going after Juju, and we're not playing him. Like, what doesn't make any sense? Juju, I think, is the ultimate boomer bust the rest of the year. I think just because of his talent, he could go for, like Wade against Miami, against the worst defense in the league, just went off. But then we're going to get probably like weeks like against like the Chargers, we won first 7.
Is he going to do anything against Baltimore? I know maybe they've already played him twice. I think they've only played him once, but I think Juju's good when they're playing like a defense that ranks 20th or worst against the pass. That's about it.
And honestly, okay, this kind of plays a little bit into real life too. Like, I think Juju does not I think he's anti-Antonio Brown. I don't think he cares if he gets the ball. Like, honestly,
I'm fine.
I'm fine. He's not a dude that commands a lot of like targets and stuff like that. So I think he's going to have games where it's like they're just going to spread the ball around. I also don't think I think Juju's really, really good, but I don't think he's quite as good as he was last year. Obviously, he had like 110 catches and like whatever how many yards he had, because he's just not like, I mean, he's not like huge. I mean, he's not particularly good at like any like specific spot. I mean, like, obviously, he's like always a great route runner, but like, I mean,
he's got great hands.
He's got great hands or whatever.
In the NFL,
yeah,
he has good hands.
Like, I think he's in a good offensive system. I think that he's like a very good player, but I just don't think he's like the type of player like an Antonio Brown, like I said, or an Odell, who like where they command a lot of targets or whatever. So I just don't think the opportunities there. And I guess, like I said, like matchup dependent. I think he's like just a flex, honestly. The rest of the year,
I mean,
I love this trade for my boy Johnny John. He gives him another wide receiver option because I mean. We're relying on Manny Sanders and Marvin Jones, but they're playing well. But like, okay, Ty is a rock solid wide receiver too, in my opinion.
He's 12, top 15 receiver or better when he's healthy.
Yep.
I think obviously with Brissett, which sounds we didn't touch on his injury, but sounds like he might even play this week or next.
I would say probably not this week.
I mean,
according to my sources.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't play this week, though, by the time Hilton's back, I mean, I think he'll have Brissett. So I don't know if Doc was thinking that as well. Maybe not. I think Doc is in the, like, I have to win now.
Yeah.
So if Pat Mahomes doesn't play, I'm rolling with
and here's one thing, too. If you want to come on defend this trade, Daiquiris, feel free. Our lines are always open. Heck, right now they're open.
Give us a call. If you hear this, give us a call. What we're going to do next is we're not going to spend too much more time on those trades or not. No more time.
We're getting a little bit too worked up right now.
We're getting way too worked up about a team. It's not even our team. I'm going to go into our power rankings due to popular demand.
A.k.a. one person asked for them.
He asked for them. We're going to give it to him. I'm going to go through 4 at a time. And then Ben will, if he disagrees with any of the spots, he will tell me, yeah, no, move him down, move him up. Here's why.
Do you have like a name for this segment? Just Mike's
it's
power.
Called the Power Rankings. So
I like that.
1 through 4 here. My number 1 team is the recycling bin, managed by probably the coach of the year in the West Division. He has.
Can I do squint eyes over the microphone?
Remember, I'm going to go through the first 4, and then you're going to let me know.
Okay, I'm sorry for the disrespect.
I think these are power rankings, has the most powerful team because he has Russell Wilson, who is, correct me if I'm wrong, quarterback number 1.
He might be, honestly, I have no idea.
You can fact check me on that. Russell Wilson, Julio Jones, Mike Thomas, David Johnson, kind of a question mark right now. Come playoff time, I think he'll be fine. I think from a power standpoint, this team has the most power with Mr. Mark Andrews at tight end, who's kind of faded a little bit as the year's gone on. But I think to have a good team in our league, a lot of the teams that are towards the top, they have good tight ends. He has a good tight end, but he also has, like, Mike Thomas averages like 20-something points a game. It's ridiculous. Julio Jones isn't a slouch either. Number 2, I have the Galladay season. I don't think you're too far behind the recycling bin either. If not, I mean, I've heard analysts have you guys both flip-flop 1 and 2. With you, I think kind of the same thing. The tight end position is really strong, so every matchup you're in, you have a very good chance, a very good advantage to have your tight end outscore the other team's tight end by at least 10. Having a great quarterback, again, you might see a trend here in a lot of these top teams, gives you a huge advantage as well. And then Tyreek Hill being healthy, I think we see he is like the top receiver. I know it's crazy to think, like, everyone's like, he's not a receiver.
I think he's him or Mike Thomas.
Him or Mike Thomas, for sure. Going on then to number 3, I have Johnny. He's got a lot of wins. He's got a lot of big-name players. Again, a good tight end, Evan Ingram, good quarterback. The trend continues.
Love that.
But I think a couple of his pieces still need to kind of fall into place as well. So I'm not, like, Saquon Barkley hasn't been up to his standard. If he starts putting up those 25, 30 points a week like McCaffrey does, I think this team is very dangerous. And I'm putting number 4, Sniffers Rowe. He has made a lot of moves at the beginning of the season. Yeah, he's a top or bottom 3-4 team. Now, with the moves he's made, granted, a lot of them have been trades where he kind of ripped teams off.
Unbiased.
But when you're looking at that team again, now, unlike the other teams, who is this guy's tight end? No tight end. He doesn't have a tight end.
Mike Gesicki?
Mike Gesicki.
Zach Gesicki.
Quarterback play, too. It's kind of up or down. I mean, he's got Tom Brady. Yeah, he's good. But then some weeks he's going to put up 8 or 9. Josh Allen, kind of the same way. So a couple more question marks, in my opinion, on that team. Le'Veon Bell, question mark. But he does have Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Hopkins. Mike Evans. That's a good core, at least, to make a good run. That's my top 4. What ones do you disagree with? Don't need to spend too much time on it because I'm assuming that's your top 4 as well.
I'm thinking I should be number 1.
I
Unbiased take. But I think the bin might be a little bit too high for me. I'm a little bit more worried about David Johnson than you are. I did think that Ronald Jones could be a league winner. Honestly, Ronald Jones, just obviously I traded him to you at the beginning of the year. Hasn't quite been what we thought he would be, but now it finally seems to be taking over that starter's role. I think he could be a league winner. So I think he is in the top 4, maybe not number 1. Obviously, love my team. I think Johnny by default has to be up there with 7 wins in the names he has. I don't know if I'm still in Sniffer's row yet. I know he's won 4 in a row. I know he's ripped off a lot of teams. He's a completely different team, but I'm kind of on the boat with what you said too. Like, that QB and tight end thing, like, especially with the names he has, like you said, Le'Veon Bell, kind of a question mark. Evans has been amazing, but he hasn't quite popped off like this, I think, in his career, where he's just got like 40 points, but like, he's had games, as someone who owned him last year, he had games like he had last week, and then he would just go 1 for 20 or something like that. Just because, and especially with Godwin emerging, I think that without those QB and tight end very solidified, I'm kind of on board with what you said about that.
And him relying on Jameis Winston.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of what his trends do too is, then Jameis Winston throws 5 picks in a game.
Yeah.
So that really affects him as well. So I'm going to do my next 4 here. Now, after that, I'm going to ask you who you think should have been in the top 4 then.
So sorry,
there was one missing out. So I had Recycling Bin, Galladay Season, Johnny, Sniffer's Row in my top 4.
Yeah.
In that order. My number 5 team, power rankings, is the Rick Rangers. Might come as a surprise to some. Now, this team as well, he's put up a lot of points. He has kind of got unfortunate as well. But with him, I mean, it's a solid core in Chubb, Carson, and Connor.
Yep.
I think that's a great, running back core compared to other teams. Now, this team, Nick Chubb, I'm very curious to see what happens. But I think if he continues to get 15, 16 carries, I mean, him and Carson are almost exactly the same to me. They're going to get 90, 100 yards a week and then put on a touchdown, maybe a couple catches sprinkled in there. That's a solid week from 2 of your guys. And then from a quarterback standpoint, Dak Prescott has been pretty good this year.
Yeah.
And then he just picked up Kyler Murray as well, who he's got 2 top 10 quarterbacks. But then the rest of this team, what's up with that tight end in Oakland, Mr. Waller? Is his first name Darren?
I like Waller a lot.
I do too, but he's the last 2 weeks, where has he been? I think he's got 4 catches in the last 2 weeks. And he's had a couple big games against the Packers. He had 2 touchdowns, and I think early in the Vikings,
he had 13
catches. But it at least kind of goes back to what we're talking about too, the tight end position. He actually has a tight end that can put up good numbers. It's not just 1 week he gets lucky with that. So that's who I have at number 5. Number 6, Potop, Cullen Bottom. I think this is a playoff team in my opinion. Between Kupp, Godwin, Jacobs has been very good. I think there's a lot of power there. And then Ertz, tight end position, like we talked about again, hasn't been great, but he's better than a Jason Witten. Number 7, I put myself, Schrute Farms. I don't think by any means I have the power of those top tier teams, but between Aaron Jones is top 5 running back. I mean, people might hate him, but from a scoring standpoint, he's a top 5. I think he'll probably finish top 10. I don't think he finishes top, unless he has another one of his big games. But then between Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams, power there. And then my number 8, I put Ty's Tent. The bottom of these power rankings, there's not a lot of power there, but I mean, he has Christian McCaffrey. The guy has 30, 40 points a week. If you can't win with that, which he hasn't, there's still some power in there having the best fantasy player. So, but my now 5 through 8, what are your thoughts?
I did say this in our conference call, but isn't it kind of funny? It's a moment to acknowledge. 2 and 7, right? With the player who's on pace to have the most fantasy points ever. That's not even that's more than LT holds the record. That's where QBs are whatever. I think he's 1, and then Peyton Manning's 2 is huge season in 2000.
He's 55 touchdowns.
Yeah, when we set the touchdown record, that's insane. So I'm kind of on. I don't have much. I would probably swap Rick and Con in that one, but other than that, I don't have anything else to complain about with those 5 through 8. Surprisingly.
And then my 9 through 12, it's brutal. The bottom half of our league is pretty brutal. 9, I put Daiquiri, so I think Daiquiri's getting Kamara back is a huge Is he going to play this week? It sounds like he should.
Yeah.
But Kamara and Mahomes right there. I mean, that's kind of your bread and butter at the beginning of the year. I mean, he didn't have Kamara, but if he would have had them going, I mean, that's 25 from each. That's 50 points a week, almost guaranteed. You know, maybe Kamara does 20. Number 10, I did Minshew Magic. No more Minshew Magic. Maybe switch the name. Zeke has very, very, very much, in my opinion, underperformed this year. 11, I had touchdowns. Not much to say. He's traded away his whole team, left himself with not many wins and not many good players. Number 12, I have Trax. I think he is the worst team, him or touchdowns, in our league. It's crazy. He defends it. Maybe he's just joking, but like you have put up like no points. That's why I don't think you're very powerful. If there's no playoff run there, maybe you make the playoffs. But eventually in the playoffs, you're going to face every team in there that's putting up 120. You can't expect them to put up a dud of a game. Any differences in my 9 through 12?
I don't hate it, but I would swap. I mean, these are all pretty close together. Bold little thing to say here. I would swap Daiquiris with Trax.
You think Daiquiris is the worst team in the league?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll leave that there. If Daiquiris, like we said, if you're listening, please call in. But other than that, those were my power rankings. I love seeing what Sniffers Row has as power rankings.
I would say that these are a little bit more high quality, a little bit more well thought out. I would say
mine are very unbiased here at the Hawk.
Yes.
Sniffers Row has been high in his team all year, even when he was 0-5. I would like to point out. But no, I do like to read those power rankings. It's good to see like what other teams see.
That's the whole point of the podcast, isn't it? Get what it takes.
Exactly. We take everyone's opinions. Everyone's opinions are welcome here at the Hawk. From there, we're going to our matchups. We are just going to pick, it sounds like just between me and you.
Ty will submit his picks via fax tonight.
Right, and then just an update on picks. Ty is 25-23. I'm 23-25. Ben making a comeback here, 22-26. Our matchups this week are brought to you by...
This week's matchups are brought to you by everyone's favorite vodka. Can I get a drum roll? Everclear. Known for its great taste and the smoothness in which it goes down your throat when you're drinking it, Everclear has been the Hawks' go-to vodka for over a century. Everclear is 190 proof, that's right, 190 proof, and has an alcohol content of 95%. Visit Everclear.com, and at the top right corner of the website, use promo code THEHAWK for your free bottle of Everclear vodka.
Mm-hmm. The Clear.
I don't know why I said that so like robotic. I don't know why I said it like that. It's almost like I'm reading from a sheet or something.
It was an ad, so it kind of needed to be. Our first matchup here this week is starting with the touchdowns versus Sniffers Row. Sniffers Row, 4 wins in a row. Touchdowns, I don't have it loaded up here. Does he have 4 losses in a row? 6 losses in a row? I'm just kidding, but he did start very well. I think he won his first week.
Got what, 7 cents, obviously.
7 cents, obviously. But what do you see here in that matchup?
Okay, remember I said that I think Downs could upset Poe in this one? I'm going to take it back immediately. I didn't realize this is a pretty bad-looking lineup. I was starting a dude named Kalen Ballage. Is that how you say his name?
Something called Kalen Ballage.
Those receivers, man. Tyrell. I mean, Tyrell's not been bad. I think we all kind of like look at Tyrell and think as a name value hasn't been that good, but obviously he's been good. Watkins, woof. Boyd with some random dude off the street throwing to him, woof. We look at the other side, like, I think the 4... Okay, completely forgot about this. I'm going to say the 3 best players in this matchup are on that team, Dalvin, Bell, and Evans. Obviously, I know...
That's it.
That's it. I didn't realize... Okay, wow, this is a really bad... Wow! This is a bad... I don't think I've looked at this yet.
And we have
I forgot Nuke Hopkins is on bye this week. We got Mike Gesicki, Marquise Brown, and Zach Pascal in the lineup. This is going to be a very low-scoring matchup. But I'm going to say Sniffers Row takes this one. 95, 92. Ugh, I can't talk 92.
Matchup, I kind of see the same thing. Tyrell Williams, just to touch on that. Yeah, he's been like good this year. Like he's caught a touchdown like every single week, but he like gets a touchdown like 40 yards. So he still puts up like 12 points. Like every other top receiver is averaging like 18 a week. So even Tyrell Williams, who scored like every single week, I don't think is anything special. George Kittle has been a stud these last couple weeks here, but he is kind of even banged up. Like, he couldn't even run last week. He was scoring touchdowns. Drew Brees against Atlanta, though, I really do like that matchup for him. If he gets Kamara back as well, I think that almost makes a hit on Drew Brees' overall point, maybe overall points just because maybe Kamara runs one in instead of catches one or whatever. But then you look at... I just am going with Sniffer's Row in this one. I don't really want to because he's starting Marquise Brown, Gesicki, and Pascal. But maybe Pascal scores against Miami. They do run that nine-man front.
I think Pascal's go-to route is not the slant, but the drag.
Does he have any relation to Pascal Siakam?
I think he actually is related to Pascal Siakam.
I think they share the same father. But look for that 49ers D as well on Monday night against Seattle. We'll put up some numbers. I think it comes down to Monday night, honestly. George Kittle versus that 49ers defense. I'm going Sniffer's Row 103. I'm going the touchdowns 101.
Oh, I thought you were going to pick Downs.
I was going to at first. We both had Sniffer's Row though in that one.
And it's a shaky win though, but it's a win.
Very shaky win to go to 5-5. From there, we are actually going to your matchup: the Galladay Season versus Potap Colon Bottom. We'll save this for the end of the show to the questions of the commission. But I do have a question for his team name.
Well, are we bringing back questions of the commission this week?
Yeah, I forgot to go through our menu for the night. But that will be. I think we'll find some time.
And I think after to kind of sandwich in between Boom or Bust, we should put a suspect move of the week in honor of Ty because he's out of the playoffs. Just a quick little 1 minute. I have a weird
feeling he might be involved with the suspect move of the week because he started a quarterback.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
All right, what do you have in your matchup?
This is a wolf matchup, especially. I think James Conner is probably going to play this week, so Jalen Samuels does not have that much value. So I think we're sliding my boy Joey Mixon into this one for Potap Colin Bottom. I hate the Rams players against Pittsburgh in this one, Goff and Kupp. Honestly, I think Kupp's probably going to get his, but I think Goff goes with Kupp. Like when Kupp goes, it's because Goff plays well. But I don't think that at Pittsburgh's defense is very, very good. I think it's like one of those games where I think that they kind of struggle to move the ball, and I think they struggle to get the ball to Kupp. Other than that, I like Jacobs, obviously, and Godwin against Arizona. I think that Patrick Peterson probably shadows Mike Evans. I think it opens up a lot for Godwin. I think Kamara will play, but I do think Ladd has earned a role on that team. I think especially if they blow out Atlanta, who has one win this week. This year. So I think Ladd could get a ton of run in that one too. Other side, we are starting a dude named Nyheim Hines. I know he was in the league till late last week. But
Heinz Ketchup.
But like we were talking earlier off.
Ketchup brand?
Heinz Ketchup, yeah. 57 varieties. Okay. I don't know if you knew that, but it's not spelled like that, but it's with a Y. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Okay, but anyway.
I'll reach out to Nyheim and see if he can change that.
Nyheim Hines.
Is he related to Heinz Ward by chance?
No.
Okay.
Shut that down pretty quick. But anyway, we were talking off of camera. I don't get a ton of points on my running backs, especially the last few weeks. I have not gotten that many points. So I think that keeps it pretty darn close in this one. I'm going to kind of be unbiased here. Jalen Samuels will not start because James Conner will start for Pittsburgh, and I think I pull out a dub in this one, 110-106.
So you really want this so-called Jalen Samuels not to be playing, because I have a feeling James Conner does play as well, but I think he'll be limited. So I think Jalen Samuels still should be in that starting lineup
over Joey Mixon.
I think I have no place to be talking, but if I was Potap Colin Bottom as the coach, I'm going Jacobs, Samuels, and I'm Joey Mixon in for Ladd. With Kamara back, a little uneasy with Ladd, but we'll see. I'm not 6-3 by any means, but when I'm looking at this matchup, yeah, you're probably going to get 7 points combined out of your running backs, but we kind of assume that with Cohen and Hines. I think this matchup really comes down to Mr. Mike Gallup against Minnesota to see what he does there, but then also I think Khan really needs a Cooper Kupp big performance to beat you. Because I just don't see him generating a ton of points. I don't think Jalen Samuels catches 15 catches again.
Yeah.
15 balls like he did last week.
Catches 15 catches.
Catches 15 catches. I do like the Phillip Rivers starts against Oakland as well. I think Phillip Rivers seems to kind of go in spurts throughout seasons where he's really hot. You got to catch him at that time. Then he'll go through, he puts up 4 or 5 points. So when I'm looking at this matchup, I am leaning Potop, Colin Bottom, just due to your running back situation.
What situation? What's wrong with them?
I mean, I still think you guys both put up a good amount of points, so I think it's like a 135 to like 125 match.
Okay, that's respectful.
Or score for Potop, Colin Bottom. From there, we're going to Dumpster Decorous versus the Recycling Bin. This, at least the win probability is leaning in Recycling Bin by 53%. I have yet to see a win probability when both teams have a full roster to be over 60%. I'm waiting for that day. Both projected really high. My golly. Has Odell Beckham Jr. ever scored over 16 points this week? Because I think he's projected like 16.
You mean this year?
Yeah, we keep saying this week. What do you got in this one?
Man, if Kamara plays, I mean, I get my dude Daggers has a shot, and I think he will play, but man, this is going to be a bloodbath, folks. Like, hide your kids, hide your wives, hide like your entire family, man. Like, this is going to be bad. Kareem Hunt in at the flex. Why are we not starting Juju? Kareem Hunt's not played yet this year. We don't know what he's going to do. But
should be flexing.
The star power is way on the side of Recycling Bin. Even with Russell playing a tough opponent, I think Russell's kind of matchup proof at this point. I think David Johnson, again, Tampa Bay, really good run D, matchup proof. Ronald Jones emerging, like just so many studs on that team over there, man. Big blowout here, 145 to 101.
Daiquiris. With that, Daiquiris probably would be eliminated. I would point out. I like in this matchup. Two things I like about each team. First, with Daiquiris, if he gets Mahomes back, obviously a huge plus. You probably wouldn't have had to do that trade for James Winston. Other thing, David Montgomery, Detroit's run defense has been pathetic. I don't think they let Trubisky throw the ball until the fourth quarter. I hope they don't. I hope they hand the ball every single time except on a fake punt in the first half. Do not let Trubisky throw that ball. So I think they force-feed David Montgomery in this one. When I look to the other side, side note on Ron Jones. I did drop him, so I'm a little salty that he decided to show up, and they named him the starter for this week going forward. Okay, they do that like every single year. Like, yeah, we're going to start feeding Jaquiz Rogers more. We really like him. And then it turns into nothing. So watch for Ron Jones to have 7 carries for 14 yards this week. That's not even my bust of the week either, so prepare for that. But I really like Recycling Bin's team. Kevin Coleman, too. As a flex option, that is incredible when your team has that strength. When your flex option could pop for, we've seen him go off for like 40 this year. I don't think this one's that close as well. I don't think Daiquiris covers that 126.9 projection. I think he gets like 117. I think Recycling Bin comes back with a strong showing, puts up 147. Both of us are on the Recycling Bin train in that one. The next one we are going to go to is our co-host, Ty's.
R.I.P.
Where's Johnny? Now, the win probability ESPN has us at 50% right in the middle.
Wow, incredible.
Not leaning in anyone's direction. Both projected 124. Ty's has the edge at 124.4. Matt Ryan, is he playing this week?
Yes.
What do you got?
This is another tough one. Ty's Tent is going to win this one in an upset, mainly just because I think a full-strength team with McCaffrey, Mack, Ingram, I think they all 3 of them play really well. McCaffrey is going to go off. Obviously, we're not starting a man named Trubisky at quarterback. I think Matt Ryan can only do better than Trubisky. Maybe not. New Orleans is a good pass team, but I mean, my dude Trubisky got like 4 points last week, so I mean, even if he puts up like 18, you add that up. Lots of scoring on this one. I don't think Allen Robinson gets shut out either. I just don't like Johnny's, like, I don't know. I don't like the vibe I'm getting from this team over here. I think that Saquon does have a good game. I think Lamar has a pedestrian game in this one. I think it's more of a Mark Ingram day. I think it's kind of the key in this matchup because Cincinnati is horrible. I don't think Lamar, honestly, is going to be playing by halftime. I think they're going to bench him because they don't need to use him. So I'm going to go Ty's 10 this one, 124.4 to 124.
So I'm looking into this one, and I am seeing Evan Ingram is ruled out already.
Evan Ingram? Is he
Good golly!
I'm
all the time.
Ruled out already. I didn't even see that. Missed out the injury report there.
So no, this Schefter just texted us.
Wow! Breaking news.
And he said, actually, rotowire.com said the injury that coach Pat Shurmur described Tuesday as a sore foot quickly became more significant than the Giants initially let on, with Ingram labeling his issue Wednesday as a low-grade
plantar fasciitis
foot sprain. This man is not playing for 3 or 4 weeks here. That's big news because we had someone named Jerry Everett in that lineup who I was actually potentially going to trade for a couple weeks back. I'm glad I didn't. That's big news, actually, in my opinion, in this matchup. Evan Ingram has been very good for Johnny this week. He's rolling out Melvin Gordon.
This year.
It's been a long week here. It's been a long year. He's rolling out Melvin Gordon, Barkley, and Todd Gurley II, which looks amazing on paper. But from a matchup standpoint, I don't know. I don't know how much they use Melvin Gordon this week compared to last. Maybe it's more of an Austin Eckler week. It's just kind of toss up with that team there. Marvin Jones, too, like you kind of alluded to. Him and Manny Sanders have been kind of playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
Now Marvin Jones gets in at Chicago. I think he does a bunch there. Going to the other side, Christian McCaffrey might put up like 45 against Green Bay's defense. We've given up a lot of points to the running backs on the year. But then other than that, it's kind of going to hinge, in my opinion, what Matt Ryan does against New Orleans. They've been pretty good on defense here this year. But if he can go for 20-plus, I think that gives Ty's Tent a good chance here. With that Evan Ingram news in just breaking, I'm leaning Ty's Tent in this one. 126. Johnny falling with just a 110.
Wow.
Evan Ingram probably gives this team 10 points, at least more than
Jerry Everett?
Gerald Everett does. So we both have actually Ty's Tent in that one.
I picked myself.
Ty's Tent, I believe, also picked himself. We're going to go to Rick Rangers versus Schrute Farms. What do you got in that matchup?
This one is it's a very interesting matchup. I think that's very even, mainly just because I don't know what's wrong with Keenan Allen. Oakland's a great matchup, like probably the best wide receiver matchup in the league this so far this year. I mean, this got shredded by all the Detroit receivers, so you have to think he plays well. But like, dude, he just sucks. But other than that, I love every matchup in this one. Obviously, Kyler Murray against Tampa Bay is a great matchup. It's gonna be interesting to see with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but I don't think that Nick Chubb's gonna give up all of his workload in 1 week, even if Kareem Hunt has a really big role. When you go to the other side, I think that Christian Kirk, Kyler Murray combo is going to really be a big one in the Tampa Bay game. I think Kirk goes 10 for 78 and 2 touchdowns in this one, and kind of offsets Kyler on this one. But I think that Green Bay goes off against Carolina. I think they're all very, very angry after getting blown out by the Chargers. I think that those four will combine. You can kind of put this on the board here. 87 points. Those four combined. 87.
Put it on the board.
So that will give Schrute Farms the win in this one. 135. Rick Rangers 115.
Yeah, I've kind of I dove right into this matchup this week. I have a heavy interest in it. Probably need a big win here. I have a lot of plus matchups, like Packers players against Carolina, especially the running backs. I think Carolina's like 5th worst in the league against running backs. Love that. Devontae Adams, I think, even more healthy than he is last week. Should be a good matchup as well for him. So, I think it comes down to, like every week, what those Packers players do. But I like Christian Kirk has a great matchup at Tampa Bay. The one matchup I'm looking at this other side for the Rangers, Chris Carson, that San Fran D has been like a number 3 or better, I think, against the run this year. Look for that to continue, I think. And then the big one, too, is just with Nick Chubb. I don't know what...
Buffalo's is a bad matchup, too.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say bad matchup for Nick Chubb.
Yep.
But then also with Kareem Hunt. You don't know what to expect there. But really, I do like his Thursday night players. Keenan Allen against Oakland should be able to have a big game, as well as Darren Waller. I don't really know what the Chargers defense seems like. If they rushed like we saw last week against the Packers, if they can rush the quarterback well, that makes a
I think that's like the focal point of their defense. I think if they can't get to the quarterback, like you said, then the rest of their team just suffers because of it. I think the rest of their defense is pretty subpar. Honestly, their linebacker, especially with Derwin James. I don't know if he's been back at all at safety at all this year.
I know they kept last week in the game. They kept saying, "Oh, he's going to be back. He's going to be back." I don't know if it's this week though. Especially after for a short week, it could be next. But when he does, look for our boy Derwin.
Yeah, friend of the podcast, Derwin James.
Pick him up too. He might be a free agent.
He might be.
I think he lines up as in a slot.
No, you can play him at defensive / special teams just by himself.
Yes, receiving yard or return yards.
Yeah, but you get return yards with him. Yes.
So that being said, I'm going Schrute Farms. 137. I think it's a high scoring game. 137. 133. Rick
Wow, with a heartbreaking loss.
Devastating loss. That brings us to the matchup of the week.
Can I ask how we determine these?
Kind of a rivalry. I felt like there was some sort of rivalry.
There's a lot of tension in the room.
I thought, yeah, the former roommates probably fighting over dishes, now fighting over a win in the Fantasy Football League. This week's matchup of the week, Team Tracks vs. Minshew Magic, is brought to you by...
Well, this week's matchup of the week is being brought to you by the great folks at Grand Casino Mille Lacs in Hinckley. Come one, come all to the official casino of 4333 The Hawk. Not only can you gamble to your heart's desire there, but breaking news here on the Hawk. Coming this winter, there will be a new slot machine called The Hawk with a maximum payout of $1 million for a jackpot winner. Very big news there. Visit grandcasino.com/The Hawk for $100 in free grand play.
Shout out to the Grand Casino. I am going to dive right into this matchup here. And I'm going to first start by saying Mason Rudolph is in the starting lineup.
Can we get a siren noise or something like
that? Love that. Yeah, let's get the siren rolling for the Hawk here. Because Mason Rudolph, face mask and all, will be starting this week for Minshew Magic.
Team Track. Oh, actually, it is a bit... Oh, my, I'm just not even paying attention. I think I'm high right now.
The two vaunted players I'm looking at this week for Minshew Magic, Mason Rudolph, and on Team Tracks, Ty Johnson. Both of those combined they're going to go off. I just have this weird feeling. That combined with Larry Fitzgerald on Minshew Magic's side, who has a very good matchup at Tampa Bay. I think I'm leaning more towards Minshew in this one. I don't really want to. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they tie. I'm going 88.3 to 88.3. If they tie, Ben will buy a Mason Rudolph jersey.
I will. For everybody in the league.
Ty's tent will buy a Ty Johnson jersey. It's just going to say Johnson, so it could be a Calvin Johnson buying.
Carry on, Johnson.
But no, I'm going to pick a tie in this one, honestly. I can't pick a winner. It's probably the best matchup of the week we've had here. But a couple of things I do also want to point out is Team Tracks. I think Austin Eckler has been fantastic this... I know he has. He's been fantastic this... I think that continues at Oakland. I think he's going to get a lot of catches, but I think he'll also get a decent amount of rushing yards. When I'm looking at Minshew Magic, how have the Vikes been against the run this year?
Like, we get gash one week, and then we do really well the next week.
And it is home for Dallas, so I could see Zeke potentially gashing that Vikings defense, but really then... It's like a question mark with Kenyon Drake if DJ plays. I think he gets... I mean, you can't just not give him the ball after the week he had last week. But then John Brown at Cleveland. I just... Not finding a lot of star power in this matchup of the week. But Tyler Lockett's been great. Probably Team Tracks' MVP if it's not for Austin Eckler. Those two have single-handedly carried this team. But I'm sticking with the tie. I don't even remember something .3. I think it's going to be a tie. I'll take that loss if they don't tie.
Man, I don't have much to add, but like, I'm hoping we're putting Devonta Freeman in for Ty Johnson. But hey, we've had some like we've seen weirder things in this league. Like, yeah, like this matchup sucks, man. Like Mason Rudolph versus Kirk Cousins, bad quarterback matchup. Zeke versus Eckler, I like that. Kenyon Drake versus Ty Johnson, like two backup running backs basically. DJ Moore versus Tyler Lockett. I think like two guys are like underrated and kind of like overlooked. I'll take my boy Stephon Diggs over John Brown, so I'm gonna give Team Tracks the win in this one. I'm not gonna look at the rest of the matchup. It's gonna be a high scoring affair, 91 to 81.
Okay, since I want to win our overall picks here, I'm not.
And Minshew doesn't have a kicker in yet.
I'm not a betting man, and I'm going to revoke that tie and say Team Tracks squeaks by and puts up 89.7
What are the standings?
to 86.3. The standings for our viewers, I did go over those earlier, but I'm going to just reiterate. Ty's tent is at 25-23. Mike, myself, 23-25. Ben is at 22-26. So it's actually gotten, we're all about 500, which I thought I would have been a little bit better at picking overall. But there you have, so we're both leaning tracks in this bloodbath of the match. A lot of points going to be fun. Watch it come out and like it turns out to be like 190 to like 185, like the highest matchup this year. I could see that happening.
So real quickly before we get to more bust, quick suspect move of the week. We could have started basically anyone else. We started Mitchell Trubisky, Mr. Ty's Tent, who is definitely not in the house right now, so he definitely can't hear me at all. But probably the worst start. Probably the worst start of the week. Of the week. Oh my god, I've said that like 100 times already. Of the year so far. But Mason Rudolph might be worse than him this week, so we'll see what happens.
At the LA Rams, you never know. Rudolph might go off for a season high 17.
So let's roll this into Boomer Bust, and before we get into that, who is Boomer Bust brought to you by this week, Michael Doporowski?
Boomer Bust is brought to you by our good friends over at Great Clips. Run on in for a free haircut this week. No, but also I do want to plug them. They do allow drinking now while you're getting your haircut. It has been rumored.
So grab a bottle of Everclear for free on the website, and then go get a haircut for free.
They actually allow their stylists to drink, though, too. So last time I was in, I said, I'm here. I work at the Hawk. I want a haircut. And she was hammered. And she was like 84 years old. And like I said, get a haircut on the Hawk because they'll buzz your hair for free. You go in, you bring clippers, you bring a scissors, they will buzz it for free. Just tell them you're with the Hawk or ask for the Hawk special and they'll give you a mohawk. Also bring a beverage or two because like I said, they do now, it's been rumored, they allow drinking while you're getting your haircut, but the stylist also may or may not be under the influence. I don't know if that was a good sponsor, honestly, for Great Clips, but I do want to give a shout out to Great Clips.
Well, honestly, that's the only thing they're really good at is buzz cuts anyway.
That's what I've heard. That's what it's been rumored around. They, they're good friends of the show. A lot of the
a good Christian organization too.
And I've heard they're really into fantasy football. You're getting your haircut. You don't want to talk to
Christian fantasy football, alcohol, haircuts. I think they have TVs there too. You can watch football.
Enough said.
Like nothing else to say.
So our boomer the bust.
The boom or the bust this week. Do you want to start, Mike? I don't even have a boom yet, so
no, it's all right. We're gonna actually start with our bust.
Okay, you go. Who's your bust of the week? And give me a stat line.
My bust of the week. Now I was going back and forth. I was like, can you pick a defense for bust of the week? You can actually. I looked within the rules. You can, but I'm not going to do that actually. I'm gonna go with. Okay, now we're at that matchup we were just talking about. I think last week, remind me, did I bust Ty Johnson? I'm not doing it again this week.
You did bust Ty Johnson.
I believe he did kind of semi-bust. But I'm looking at my man Kenyon Drake. Came off of probably a career high. Other than maybe that week where he got like a ball tossed to him. Remember late in the game against the Patriots where like they were doing the hook and lateral?
Yep.
I think that was his league high going into last week.
It might have been.
I think Kenyon Drake, I'm really heavily banking on DJ playing this week. David Johnson. I was going to say Dustin Johnson, the golfer. DJ playing this week. Kenyon Drake, I've really drawn this out so Ben has had some time to search for one. Kenyon Drake comes back with a atrocious stat line. They give him the rock 10 times. That's 10 carries. He goes for 19 yards. He gets one catch on a screenplay that goes very wrong because he goes for minus 12 yards on that. Kenyon Drake.
Can I get like a description of what happens to that screen pass?
Definitely. It's like early in the game too, and they're Cliff Kingsbury, genius on the offensive side of the ball, might I point out. He comes up with this great play, he thinks, and it is a quick screen out to Christian Kirk on the left. Now Christian Kirk is behind the line of scrimmage, so it counts as a toss. I don't know then if this will turn into a screenplay, but I'm really hoping it does, because then he tossed it back to DJ, who was lined up behind Kyler. Actually, they were going out with the Wildcat. DJ actually slung it out to Kirk. He slings it back to DJ, who throws it to Kenyon Drake, who's got Kyler Murray lead blocking for him.
So he tries to reverse field.
Blown up, tries to reverse field, gets tackled at the 1, nearly a safety, ends up netting 12 yards. Might not turn into a catch, but he's going to miss those 12 yards big time because he's going to end with like a 1.5 points.
Wow, that was pretty incredible right there.
Lots of boys.
13 points.
The bust of the week, Mike Evans. At home against Arizona, I think Patrick Peterson shallows him. I think he absolutely destroys him. I know he's had 78 whatever points the last 2 weeks. Don't care. Mike Evans this week is going to put up 0.1 points. Actually, no, my bad. 1.1 points. I forgot we're in a PPR league.
How does that work?
We're in a PPR league, but here's what's going to happen. 1 catch for 21 yards. They're going to throw a backwards pass to him. They're going to throw up back across the field. You know, that Odell to Saquon play that everyone tries to run right now. He's going to be throwing it up not to Saquon, but to Peyton Barber because Rollin Jones is not going to be playing. And my dude Peyton Barber reads it incorrectly, keeps running down the field.
The starting job.
This is the starting
this shot.
This is the starting job. This is probably going to be in the third quarter. They'll be throwing it deep to him. Instead of stopping, he just keeps running. The ball's way behind him, and it gets picked off, returned for a pick six. And after that, Evans gets benched.
So when Mark Evans, let's just call him Mark Evans for
Mark Evans,
the sake of his bust. How many targets did he have?
6
in the week when he went 0 for 0. I'm looking at this, and it says 0.
He failed to secure. Oh, my bad. He didn't get targeted. Oh. Where are you reading this, by the way?
Yeah, you can. There's actually a cool little thing that I noticed. I'm telling all of our fantasy users as well. When you look at their stats on the computer, it breaks down their targets now. He followed up that 0 target week with a 17 target week. Which
Wow!
Converted on 9 of those receptions. That's getting ahead of ourselves. But let's go back to Mark Evans. Ben just said he's going to bust this week. I'm just going to point out he had 17 targets week 6, had a bye week 7, then had 12, then had 16. They are aggressively feeding this man, and he's.
I don't think Jameis is actually looking.
I think James is just tossing it up there. Mike Evans is just doing his thing.
Dude, do you want me to go for the boom?
I have 2 booms, so I will let you go.
Okay, I'm going to boom this week. Now, this is a very, very bold one. And he's in a starting lineup this week. For one, Minshew Magic. He is a quarterback. That's right. It's number 2 himself, Mason Rudolph. No face mask. No, it does not matter. This dude is going to go bananas against the Rams, one of the worst defenses in the league. He's going to throw for 400 yards, have 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and, you heard it here first, a receiving touchdown in this game. They are going to throw it back to James Conner, who is going to throw it up to Mason Rudolph on a fade for a touchdown.
I'm all over that. We were hating on him earlier. I am all over
but in terms of the rushing department, those 2 rushing touchdowns, both on QB sneaks, 2 rushes, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Love that. My boom of the week is actually not in a starting lineup. He goes by the initials, or potentially it's his first name, DK Metcalf. I think on the big stage Monday night, not a lot of us have seen this man play. He's going off. Richard Sherman is not going to be able to keep up with him.
He's probably
Richard Sherman is going to be on Tyler
Lockett. Yep.
Where I finished your sentence there.
Yep. Nice.
Downs, get this man in the lineup. If you have to pull out, I don't know, maybe Sammy Watkins.
Or I know Sammy Watkins might be a little bit too tough, so maybe we'll pull out Tyler Boyd, who has some dude off the street throwing to him.
Or maybe Tyrell, if you can. Maybe take one of those touchdowns.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're not going to want to miss out on this. DK Metcalf goes off for 8 catches only. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot. 283 yards! Believe it or not, Russ Wilson only throws for 315. But 283 of those go to DK Metcalf, in large part to 270-yard touchdown catches.
How many passes did you get to attempt? Because you're telling me he's get 283 yards on 8
catches.
How many targets for DK?
Only 9.
Only 9 targets?
He's very
efficient. So you're telling me on 9 targets you get 283 yards, and then that leaves an extra 42 yards? So how many attempts is my dude Russell going to have this game? 12?
Russ only throws, yeah. No, he throws 14.
Another 5 to Tyler Lockett?
I may want to almost boom with those stats, Russell Wilson. But I also want to point out that there is one kicker that I've been a huge fan of all year long, and he does not get the respect that he deserves. I own him in a couple other leagues. He was my kicker last year. If you remember him, Robert Gold. I want to boom a kicker as well. This on the big. I mean, you're on Monday Night Football. You got to come out and play. Robert Gold sets the record for a kicker. I want to see it so bad. I think it's 26 or 27 by Suck Up correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I could be close on that.
You're pretty close.
Rob Gold hits 7 field goals. They're all 30 yards or more. He hits, what is that, 21?
Okay, hold on. So you're telling me like they'll all be 30 yards? You mean 50 yards or more?
30 yards or more.
Okay,
it's going to be like something where...
So it's all going to be 3 points or more.
That's 21.
So why does it matter? Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Is it your boom of the week?
No, it's not. You're correct.
He adds on another 8 extra points to give him 29 points this week. San Fran against Seattle is going to be the biggest shootout of the year. Based off of this boom, it's probably in the 50s.
You inspired me in this one, Mike, because here's the thing.
Take that back. No, take that
back. When we're adding our booms, we're going to add the deep sleeper of the week. Someone who's on waivers currently and maybe who has sucked. I'm going to boom this week. His name is O.J. Howard. Orange Juice Howard has been awful this year. He's playing in Arizona. Like I said, Mike Evans gets balled up. I think O.J. Howard goes bananas this week. 12 catches, 167 yards, and a touchdown.
I might have to pick him up. Also, I would like to plug our other sponsor, Tropicana.
Yeah, dude.
O.J. of the Hawk.
Wasn't it Minute Maid last week?
It was like a couple weeks back. We kind of switch up our sponsors a lot because some of
them
send us free stuff.
We get to go the highest bidder, yes.
So that was the booms of the week and the busts of the week. We'll see how we do. We're usually pretty close, if not spot on with those. We will go to... We're going to wind down here a little bit. Cause
deep breath.
The Wolves are losing to the Grizzlies right now. And
Tyus Jones.
Tyus James is just going off for the Grizz. We're going to go to our questions to the commission. And I am not lying to anyone. I had a great question for the commission, and I forgot it. So I'm going to go to Ben on this one. And he's... Actually, my first question to the commission, I remembered it, is can we just switch the name? It's like Potop, Cullen Bottom, like... It's getting to the fact, like, it's getting ingrained in Cullen's head. Like, every year he automatically just, like, sends half of his lineup to Poe. So, to me, there seems like there potentially is some collusion there.
Yeah, I think between Con, Poe, and Downs.
Yes.
Yes.
Where Con says something along the lines like, Cullen, you don't have to pay the buy-in this year. Just trade Austin a majority of your top players.
Yes, I think that honestly what he might be doing. And my other question is, like, I think our 12 teams is just too small. I think we need to expand, like 14, 16. I'm thinking upwards of like 24 teams in this league.
The War Room League?
The War Room League, I believe, is a 32-team league. Believe it or not, it's just like the NFL.
You're starting backup quarterbacks.
That's right. With the players on buys, it's desolate out there in the War Room League. But I think we should, like, I don't know. I think as long as we keep expanding, I think we can really blow this baby up. Like, I think maybe triple the buy-in next year or something like that to 150. I think we all have jobs now. I honestly don't know, but I think if we just like keep expanding this and like our podcast eventually will take off too, like we can really make this league into like something to watch. We can get on ESPN and stuff like that too.
Also next week, what our statistician Ben will have, because I'm curious to see too. Now, I've only been re-entered back into this. This is my 3rd year now. But I think that it's been the last 3 years is when it's been like the most competitive. Maybe everyone involved. We are going to have for you who has made the playoffs. Colin Downs. I don't think he's made the playoffs the first 2 years. He's 0-2. Potop, Colin Bottom, correct me if I'm wrong, has made the playoffs the last 2 years, looking for 3 in a row.
We will have all those stats for you. And trying to hook the readers or the listeners, as they would say, we will have all of Downs' acquisitions and what would be the opposite of acquisitions?
His decommissions.
Decommissions, a.k.a. the people he has gained and lost this year via trade and adding and dropping players.
Also, I promised to host this week, and we cut out a co-host. So I promised something I didn't technically come through, but we want to get a host. We want to get a host next week. Also, we're still kind of we want to get a host next week. We want to get a guest next week.
A guest, yeah, I think for sure, like, best of luck to everybody this week except for Connor Johnson. You got anything else to say, Mr. Michael Dupperall?
Let's go, Wolves!
We'll talk to you next week.